If we don't vote, we are ignoring history and giving away the future, says Pat Mitchell, former president of CNN Productions and equal representation activist. Today, I want you to devote yourself to exercising your democratic right to vote in elections because the outcomes of elections directly affect your everyday life. If you don't vote, you sacrifice your voice, and voting is a serious civic duty that many have given their life securing for our nation. The necessity of voting is extremely relevant because many of you are older than 18 and eligible to vote. And the entire United States has many very important primaries coming up this year, including the presidential primary. The first reason you should vote is elections determine issues that directly affect you. These elections don't elect leaders to make decisions that will never touch your way of life. Issues being decided on in Washington and our state and local governments will have some definite effect on your life. When you vote for a member of Congress, the president, the governor, and our local legislators, they make decisions that affect your job, whether that's minimum wage, fairness in hiring, job equity, job security, workplace safety, or health insurance. Lawmakers also affect the lives of those who don't have a vote, like our children, by making decisions that affect the cost and quality of public schools and higher education institutions. According to the Pew Research Center, just 20% of U.S. adults say they trust the government in Washington to do the right thing, just about always or most of the time. This graph from Statista shows a visual about how public trust has plummeted since 1958. These statistics are alarming when the government has such an influential aspect in our daily life. Your vote can be the change. Secondly, you should vote because it is your voice and power in a vast sea of other opinions. Voting is a privilege that allows the American citizen to have a say and voice in the running of our government. Our democratic republic ensures that the people have a say in the running of our nation, so that we never face tyrannical rule like that of King George III ever again. Marian Wright Edelman is an American activist for civil rights and children's rights. She said, "Democracy is not a spectator sport. It is our civic duty and privilege to be actively involved in the running of our country. We have the right to choose who we place in our leadership positions to make laws. Their duty is to the people, by the people, for the people." According to the National Geographic Research Library, in 2000, Al Gore narrowly lost the Electoral College vote to George W. Bush. In the end, Bush won Florida by 0.009% of the votes cast in the state. That was only 537 votes. Had 600 more pro-Gore voters gone to the polls in Florida that November, there may have been an entirely different president from 2000 to 2008. Lastly, every citizen should vote because it is a right that has been fought for and won by the lifelong devotion of many brave men and women. Your civil right and duty to vote came with a price. An estimated 6,800 Americans were killed in action during the Revolutionary War, fighting for liberty and independence. About 620,000 died in the Civil War, securing Black men the right to vote under the 15th Amendment. It took many decades and the lifelong devotion of women's suffrage activists like Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony, and Lucretia Mott to secure women the right to vote under the 19th Amendment. That was passed only 102 years ago. In both world wars combined, more than 520,000 Americans died defending your constitutional rights against tyrannical leaders like Hitler, Mussolini, and Hirohito, who were fighting to silence the voice of the people. Before we end, let's reflect back on why it is crucial for you to exercise your right to vote. Every citizen should utilize their right to vote because elections will indefinitely affect their lives. Voting gives every citizen a say in the voice of government, and the privilege to vote has been secured with a price. Don't sacrifice your voice this upcoming election year. Head out to the polls and participate in American democracy. It is a simple yet profound statement by political scientist Larry Sabato that every election is determined by the people who show up. So show up.